Hey everyone! You guys, I hope you're having a great day. I am super excited to be with you guys today to do this Q&A video. And just want to make sure we're good. Okay. So I am Tiffany Thomas with wealthytiffany.com, and I help individuals achieve financial freedom through wealth building strategies. So I am doing a Wealth Wisdom Wednesday today. That is a bit of a tongue twister. I might have to change the name of that. Wealth Wisdom Wednesday, a little Q&A session. So I'm going to answer questions that have been submitted, and I'll just go through those, and then if you guys have questions later on as we're going throughout the video, then you can post them below, and I can either answer them this week if they pertain to what we're talking about, or I can answer them next Wednesday. So make sure and post your questions below the video if you do have any. So you guys, a couple of questions that were submitted were about what I actually talked about last week, which was having an LLC for your properties, whether or not to do that. There was a question about that, and then a question about where to set up retirement accounts. So we're going to talk about those two things today. So the first question that I got was about how to go about setting up your umbrella insurance policy on your rental properties and kind of what that means. So I want to dive into that. So all you have to do is, and so let me just do a little background. So last time I talked about the option of having your rental properties under an LLC or setting up an umbrella insurance policy. So, and I kind of just said, that if you have a lot of properties, it is a good idea to have an LLC. And I only have a couple of properties, so I don't currently have an LLC. I might switch that later on. But a good way to protect yourself is to have an umbrella insurance policy on your properties. So the way that you go about setting up an umbrella insurance policy is you can just simply call up your insurance agent where you currently already have your insurance through and ask to set up an umbrella insurance policy on your properties. And a few things about that. It's actually not that expensive to get an umbrella insurance policy. Just to give you an idea, I pay about $20 a month for insurance on my rentals. And you guys, honestly, this will vary. If you have properties in California, it's going to be way higher, right? I'm in Utah, so it's pretty low cost, but you can just kind of get an idea, on the amounts. So I pay about $20 a month to insure one rental property. And in order to add an umbrella insurance policy of $1 million, it's about $40 a year. So per property. So you can kind of do the math on that. So it's almost $3.50, $3.40 per month to add an umbrella insurance policy. So it's not too expensive, and it gives you that extra coverage, which is nice when you have your rentals. And that's for a $1 million umbrella insurance policy. And what you want to look at when you are, if you're deciding to set up an umbrella insurance policy, is you want to look at your net worth. So you want to know how much equity you already have in your properties and how much they are worth. And if that's under $1 million, then you would be fully covered if you set up an umbrella insurance policy of $1 million, because you don't have, more than $1 million, right? So if you did have more than $1 million, then you could look at setting up an umbrella insurance policy for $1.5 million, or depending on, how much net worth you do have. You can look at increasing your umbrella insurance policy so that you are fully covered. So, if you don't have your properties under an LLC, then if someone were to sue you, then they could go after all of your personal assets, which would be all of your properties because they're not under a company, they're not under an LLC, a limited liability corporation. So they would be able to sue you for any of your personal assets because they wouldn't be separated, right? They would be all under your personal name. So if you were to get sued and you had an umbrella insurance policy for, that $1 million, then you would be covered under your insurance policy. So hopefully that explains a little bit about umbrella policies, and it's very, very easy to set up. You just, like I said, you call your agent and they can run the numbers and take a look and see how much that would cost you extra to have that extra coverage. And then the next question that I wanted to talk about is actually where to set up a retirement account. And the place that I recommend is Vanguard.com. And you can set up a Roth IRA at Vanguard.com. You can also do a brokerage account through Vanguard. But I really like Vanguard because they have really good funds. So they're very low cost, and they also have really low fees and on their funds. And they also are great funds as well. So they're very high performing. And I feel like a lot of people overlook the cost of investing when they are, if they're investing in index funds or mutual funds, they don't always take into consideration the cost that they're paying. There's an expense ratio that you are paying every year to be invested in a fund. And you really want to take that into consideration because even though it might seem like a small percentage, that adds up so fast over time. And that can take away from your profit. So even just, a 1% expense ratio, that might sound low, but that's actually high. So Vanguard has funds that are 0.05% expense ratios. So that is super low, and you really want to take that into consideration when you are investing. And the reason I like to go with Vanguard is because their funds are so good, and you don't pay an extra fee to invest in their funds because they're their own funds, right? They're Vanguard funds. So if you were to invest with someone else, maybe Fidelity or something, and you wanted to buy a Vanguard fund, then you would pay an extra fee in order to invest in that Vanguard fund. And like I mentioned, we want to keep our fees as low as possible. So that's why I like Vanguard. And if you opt in for their electronic statements, which I do, then they waive I think it's a $20 per year fee. So you can definitely just enroll in that. You don't need a ton of paper anyway, right? And then it's free to set up an account with Vanguard, which is fantastic. Because we want to keep as much money of our own as possible, right? And then I also wanted to mention, if you did want to set up an HSA, that's a health savings account, which is different from an FSA, which is a flex spending account, then I would go with Lively. They are one of the HSA providers that doesn't charge a monthly fee. A lot of them, I've done a lot of research on this, and a lot of them charge a monthly fee just to set up an HSA account. Or they require a minimum balance in your HSA account. And Lively doesn't do that. So I actually set one up with Lively myself. That's what I use. And they give you a free debit card. So when you do have medical expenses, then you can use that debit card. And another thing that they have is you can invest in the stock market, which is fantastic. So if you don't actually need the money right away for your expenses, you can put that money that you're putting into your health savings account into the stock market. So you could buy funds if you want to, or you could buy individual stocks, whichever route you want to go. And they do charge a fee for that. It's $2.50 a month to invest in the stock market. But like I mentioned before, a lot of the as far as I can find, any of them that let you invest in the stock market, they have a fee as well, a monthly fee. And then a lot of them already have a monthly fee on top of that just to have the HSA set up. So anyway, you can invest your HSA money in the stock market, and that is tax-free, which is fantastic. And then you can save all of your receipts for as long as you want to. So if you want to save all of your receipts from, now, say if you're 40 right now, you want to save them until you're 65, then you can totally do that and get reimbursed when you're 65. And that money comes back to you tax-free. So that's amazing. So if you do qualify for an HSA, a health savings account, I would really recommend Lively, and they don't pay me to say that or anything. That's just who I use. And the way you have to have a high deductible insurance in order to qualify for an HSA. So I know a lot of entrepreneurs have a high deductible insurance, and it has to state on your insurance plan that it is HSA qualified. So you want to look for that on your plan. So you can either, if you've worked with someone to set up your insurance plan, you can ask them if it's HSA qualified, or you can look on your paperwork and just see if it says HSA qualified. And if it does, I would highly recommend setting up an HSA account. And, even if you don't think you have the money right now, I would still set up the account, because even if you do go to the doctor, or maybe you need to go to the dentist or something, there's something required that you are going to need to spend money on. That is a medical expense. And if you have your HSA set up, then you can just use that, and that money is tax-free. So, a lot of people, when they think about this, if they think, well, yeah, maybe I should set up an HSA, but I really don't have money to put into there right now. I'm trying to grow my business or whatever it might be. But honestly, if you are going to the dentist or the doctor or buying anything medical related, any medical expense that you might have, then you can definitely afford to set up an HSA, especially with Lively, since it's free to set up. Because you can write that off, and it's tax-free. So it actually saves you money to have an HSA if you can qualify for it, even if you are planning on, spending that money, so you want to get reimbursed for that money. You're saving because you're not paying taxes on that. So I think that is amazing. So those are the 2 questions that I wanted to answer today. So hopefully that is helpful. And like I said, please post any other questions you have on the bottom of this video, or you can send an email to Tiffany@wealthytiffany.com and just put question in the subject. And then I can answer your questions in the next video, which will be next Wednesday at the same time, 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So please join me for that, and I will see you guys then. All right, thanks so much.